This is a video demonstration of installing the Thule Podium Foot Pack, actually a complete rack, on the top of a 2011 Honda CR-V. First thing you're going to want to do is remove the plastic insert which comes from the factory. Very carefully take a screwdriver, put it in the slot, and just give it a slight twist to pop the cover off. Once the cover is removed, you're going to want to take the thread cleaning tool that is supplied by Thule and screw it onto one of the bolts, or actually both eventually. What you have to do is clean the paint off the threads that comes from the factory. If you don't clean the paint off, you're going to have a difficult time doing the installation. So once you have both of the bolts clear of paint, unscrew your little cleaning bolt or nut. Take one of the Thule posts that are set up for this vehicle, and just kind of thread this down onto the top of that bolt post until snug. The next thing we're going to do is grab the cover provided by Thule, put it down over your bolt pattern, and you see it's a real nice snug fit. And we're going to attach the podium foot to these two bolt posts. So there's a little bit of setup required prior to installing the podium foot onto your crossbar. First thing you want to do is take the Thule bracket, slide it into the rubber pad which will sit on your roof. Once that's finished, you're going to want to grab the podium tower, line up the holes, take the two hex bolts, thread them into the tower, grab your hex. So you're going to want to leave your hex bolts fairly loose. The reason being, the hex bolts are what actually tighten your crossbar to the podium foot. Next thing we're going to do is grab the crossbar, insert it into the podium foot, like so. Then we're going to grab a Thule End Cap, place it into the bar, give it a couple of taps. It's in there rock solid. And now we're going to put the podium foot onto the top of the CR-V. So we'll take the fully assembled podium kit here, and the 50-inch load bar in this case, place it down over the top of the two bolt posts, place a washer over each bolt, and a square nut. Once you've got the two bolts snug, grab your Thule tool, it's included, and snug the bolts. Make sure they're nice and tight this time. Next thing you're going to do is measure your crossbar to make sure your tower is equidistant on each end. So you want the same amount of space on each end of the Thule crossbar. You could do that by sliding it at this point because you haven't tightened the actual tower to the bar. So that's the center point for this particular bar. So what we're going to do now is tighten down the two bolts that we left slightly loose earlier. So we'll grab our Allen wrench, and again, tightening these bolts actually fastens your load bar into the tower as well. So once you've got both bolts tight and your bar is now tightened onto the car, you can take your Thule cover, place it on the rack, take the plug which locks it in place. It doesn't actually lock it, but it fastens it in place so that it won't come off. Snap it into the cover until you hear an audible click. Once it's in, give it about a quarter of a turn, and the cover is now fastened in place. Okay. You can also remove the plug and insert a Thule Lock Core and lock your rack to the vehicle.